Hello everyone, welcome to Lighthouse Stamping with Lorraine. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Vancouver, Washington. Thank you for joining me today. In the description below, you'll see all the product I used and all the measurements for what we're making. You'll also find a link to my online store. If you need a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I'd love to be yours. There's also my email address and a link to our Facebook group, which we'd love to have you join. And finally, remember to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel to help me grow in YouTube world. I have nothing in front of me today. I know. I promised you an Easter item. Well, I'm going to show you what we're making. I'm going to grab them right now. We're making paper eggs. Now, I got this idea from, it's not my original idea, from Sam Colcutt on Mixed Up Crafts. She's out of the UK. I made hers with her dimensions, and hers were a little small for what I wanted. So I have enlarged the eggs a little bit. So the eggs themselves are approximately 4 3/4 high, and at the widest point, 2.5 inches wide. So these are a little bigger than she made. But she is the one that inspired me to figure out how to make them bigger, and because I wanted one that were bigger. This is Bermuda Bay and Dandy Designs paper, and this is Fresh Freesia with Dandy Designs paper. Like I said in the other video when I did an Easter project, if you've got Dandy Designs paper, great Easter paper. So you can use anything you have. So let me show you what we're going to make one today. We're actually going to make one out of Highland Heather. Now, I made the Easter basket on Wednesday. If you haven't seen Wednesday's video, please go back and look at it. We made an Easter basket. So here's the Easter basket we made. And I'm guessing you could probably get 5 or 6 of these in here if you wanted. And you can, these are hollow because I'm using these for decor pieces at the house. So I did not want to fill them, but I'm going to show you how to fill the one we're building today with candy. You seal it up, and then the recipient rips it apart, and they get their treats out of the egg. If you're like living in the Pacific Northwest like we do, we don't have outdoor Easter egg hunts because it's usually too rainy and too wet. We have indoor ones, so these work great for indoor instead of lieu of plastic eggs. But you can put money or anything else in you want. So I'm going to show you how to make these cute little eggs. They're very easy to make and minimal supplies. Like I said, we're using Highland Heather, and we're going to, this piece of paper is 8.5 by 6. And we are going to score this at, you're going to love these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So far, okay. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now you have a 1/2 inch tab here. You want to turn this so that is closest to you. And then you're going to score at 1, 2, 3, skip 4, score at 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 5. Okay? That's all the scoring on this. Well, almost. So we're going to put this back, the tabs back on my left-hand side again. Or right-hand side. Right-hand side, sorry. It's on my right-hand side. Maybe your left, I don't know. It's on this side. So I'm looking at this. Now we have a large rectangle here, but all the rest of them are 1-inch squares, okay, except across here. So what I found the easiest way to do this is we are going to be putting some tick marks in. And you can use pencil, or you could use this and make a little mark. I found the pencil easier, and that's what I'm going to use. So at the top, with the little tab on this side, we're going to line up with the first score line. And I'm just going to come down, and I'll try to get this in a little closer. There. So I'm lining this up, and you can see where all your score lines are. And I can just see that little line right there. And we're going to make some tick marks. 1.5, 3.5, 5.5, and 7.5. These are all erasable, so not a problem. And then you're going to just move your ruler down to the bottom score line. So you can see the bottom score line. Oop, you can't. I got to move my paper. Sorry. There we go. So we're at the bottom line. Just make sure we're all nice and we'll do the same thing. 1.5, 3.5, 5.5, and 7.5. So those are our tick marks are. Okay. Now we're going to come back to that in a second. I'm going to actually, I found this helpful for me. The squares where we put the tick marks, I'm putting an X just above those in the little squares just below, like that, because that's telling me we are going to remove those. So see if you can see where I put the little things here. This is to remind me that is the one I'm going to be cutting away at some point, but not quite yet. So let me pull this back out a little bit so it's not so glary. Now we need to score from this tick mark to here and from here to here. So we're working on the rectangles and we're going downward. I do have to turn my page so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to grab a smaller ruler. So we're going from this corner of there to the tick mark. You want to get a nice... Let me do a couple of them, and I'll show it to you. Close it up. So I skip the button box and go to the next. This takes you a second to line them all up, but it's worth it. I think it's rather cool. Oh, I can't see. I got to turn the paper because I can't see because of the light. And yeah, I tried to do this. Bermuda Bay was terrible to see. I also tried to make this. I'd never tried to do it before. I tried to make it out of just DSP. It almost came together, but it was not sturdy enough to hold any candy or anything in it. It just wanted to collapse on me. So if someone else wants to try DSP, give it a try. I tried 3 times and gave up. Not that I won't revisit it again, but now if it was maybe a specialty DSP, which was stronger, it might have worked. But I was using Dan Designs. Oh, sorry, Smokey's crying again. So I'm trying to get, as you can see, can you see where the score line? There you can. So we've got score lines in those rectangles. We're staying inside those rectangles, just like that. Okay? Now, where we have the little squares and the thing here, we're going the opposite, we're going this way. So we're essentially making, we made this shape here. Now we're coming up to make this shape. Like I said, I'm using these for some home decor pieces. I'm not putting candy in them. I'm going to show you how the candy goes in before I close this one. I'll take it back out. But you can use it for candy and money or whatever other treats you can fit in. And it's a pretty good size, so you can put quite a few in. Sorry about that. If you hear my poor kitten, she's suffering so because I won't let her in. But she should give up. She usually does. So then we've got all of these lovely score lines here. So let's see if I can show you those. There we go. You see them. They're right here. So these are coming up. They meet here. So this one is just no score lines in the middle one here. Okay? Now we're going to fold and burnish all of our score lines. Yeah, I know. You may think it's me keeping them out of here, but they get into way too much trouble in this room. And they've been into everything under the sun lately. They've even managed to get on the top of the curtains, on the top, the actual thing that holds the blinds. Their leveler blinds. There's a metal piece that holds, bracket that holds all the blinds up. Got one of the cats actually climbed up there and has learned how to walk across it. So they're getting all kind of mischief. They're 6 months old. They're supposed to get into mischief. Okay, so we've folded everything, and now we're gonna do some cutting. So I said all these with the little X's we're gonna get rid of. You're also gonna get rid of, this is our short piece, we're also gonna get rid of this little square right here. So we're gonna get rid of that one first. Then I'm gonna go ahead and cut up right up all these lines straight up to the score line. First score line, I should say. Oop. And then we're going to go in here. Turn your paper around so it's easier for you to cut. Just going to trim those off. And if we have any pencil marks at the end that we see, we will erase them. So that's one side cut. So it looks like that. Now we'll go up and cut up all of these. Yeah, I figured I better get all the Easter stuff in. If you guys wanted to use any of these for Easter, you needed time to make them. So cut across that one. Then we'll come to the next one I put an X in. These are the same ones where your score lines are right here that you're getting rid of. I found it easier to put an X in that box when I started, because I can tell you, when I first redesigned this box with my new measurements, I didn't do that, and I cut the wrong tabs off. And I got mad at myself. So this is what we've got now. And I got a couple places where I can see a few pencil marks. So grab your best eraser and make sure you have no little pencil marks down in the groove there. There we go. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is all these lines where we diagonally scored, you're just going to sort of bend them in. They become valley folds. So use your fingers, bend your hand around a little bit, and you're just basically folding them in. Takes a minute, fold it in a tuck, fold this one in tuck. And you'll start seeing this come together in a second. The first one, the end ones are always the hardest. You see what's happening here? That's why I said make sure you get a good score line in there. There we go. You see what's happening now? And then the little ones, we're doing the same thing. You're going to fold them in, all valley, to go in. I'm just using my fingers. I'm not burnishing anything. I'm just using my fingers to fold, just to get them started. And that one there, and that one there. Oop. That one squished a little bit. That's okay. We'll fold it back. Okay. So it looks like this now. Okay. And this is our tab still. I'm going to flip it over. And you could use tear and tape or glue. I'm going to go ahead and use glue. Make sure you don't get too much because you don't want it seeping off to the edge there. And then just fold these straight down because it's equal sizing, so it folds just like that. Give it a good rub. Make sure it's good and stuck. Okay, so the part with the rectangle at the top, up here, that's the top of your egg. So we're start at the bottom. Just sort of do this way. And you're going to take two sides opposite each other and pull them together, and you're going to glue them like this, okay? And I found just actually sticking my finger in one side and holding it like that for a second was the best way to hook it. You could use tweezers if you wanted. I know Sam, when she made the smaller one, she did use tweezers, and I did too, but this is 1 inch, so you got a little room there. So once it sets enough to do, you move to the next one. You pull the next one over. And give it a little shove. You have to push this one in so you come across the square there. You do have to wait for it the glue to catch before you move on, because it will slide if you don't. Because you're pulling this in, there's a little tension there. Okay, and then you're gonna push this one over like that. And you're gonna hold this for just a second. Should be good. So there's the bottom of it. Now, this is the point where you would fill it full of candy. I'm not sure how much one of these will hold, so I grabbed a bunch out of the Easter basket. So we have a couple of these big coins. There's a couple like Reese's Pieces. Here's an egg. That's 2 chocolate egg or carrots. Here's some Easter bunnies. You need to make sure whatever you put in here, you can close it comfortably up. We may have a little too much in there. Let's take out a couple. Just make sure you have enough space that you can actually, with your hands, do this to get your egg shape. That's as much as you can put in there. But like I said, that was all of that. So that was what, 2, 4, 7 pieces of candy, depending on the size of your candy and stuff. Now, like I said, mine are going to be decor pieces, so I'm not doing that. But I wanted to show you, this is the time you would add the candy. So, and you're gonna take this, and I'm gonna pull that over, do the same thing, get my finger in here. Just hold it real still. Like I said, these are fun to make. Just hold it for a second here. Then we'll pull this one in. Like I said, give it a good push right here to get that square over the next square. Because with these folds, there is a little tension there. And then pull this one over like that. Okay, now it's time to decorate our box. Oh, I collapsed my box. I wonder if I'm still too late. Do you see what happened here? My egg collapsed on me. I didn't. I'm going to try to open it. I may regret this, but we'll find out. Like I said, I just need to get one finger in there and push this panel back out. I collapsed it when I was doing it. There. So if you collapse one, you want to make sure you get that. So which side's better? This side's better. So we'll re-glue this one on here. I pressed too hard and I collapsed it, so you do need to be careful. Like I said, I worked quick. I realized I collapsed it. Just collapse that one piece right there. Now we'll put glue back on there. Like I said, this is a decor piece and for my home, and it's not going. But no one, even if I was giving it to somebody, they would never know that I tore that open to fix that problem. So if you actually let push in one of these when you're putting it together, you know, just quickly get it out. It's not going to be that notice right there. It's not that noticeable. And we're going to decorate it now. So what I used, I grabbed the Subtle 6x6 DSP because they're pretty and they had flowers. You are going to need four of these that are 3 1/4 by 1 3/4, and you're going to need 14 that are 3/4 by 3/4 of an inch. I'm not using glue on this. I found that it was easier to use my new friend. We're still trying to get used to each other. Stampin Seal. Now, so I'm going to grab my silicone mat. I'm going to grab the big panels first. I just do these in, you know, small groups. Uh-oh. Huh. I just ran out. Well, I've seen other people do this. This is the first time I bought this, but I do have a spare. I understand these are supposed to just pop apart. And this is supposed to come out like this. I think there's a little wad of glue right here we'll get out. I bought a new one. Like I said, I've been such a glue girl for so many years. But then I decided to give this a whirl. I've been doing that. I've actually managed to use enough of it. So, okay. It says this goes on here on these two spindles. Oh, it goes like that. Just pops in. And then this pops back over the top. I'm reading the instructions right here on the package. Right there and there. Like I said, there it goes. I had never used this, or it's my first roll and my first time changing, so you're just lucky enough that it was on air. So, yes, me and Stampin Seal are starting to get along quite nicely. And these go in the long rectangles, and there's about a 1/4 inch margin on that. You could make it smaller if you wanted. You wouldn't have to glue these at the top. You could run string and ribbon through the top and seal them that way. Just post a little hole through each of them in the center, and then drop a string to tie it closed if you didn't want someone to be ripping it apart. Or like me, you could just use them for decor pieces in your home, which I am doing, but I'm sure they'll eventually become kitty toys. And then we're going to put all these on real quick. Now you can use glue. I did one with glue, and I'm going to do the top and bottom of this before I forget. I found the seal was much nicer than glue. This is the one that collapsed on me. You put that piece on there and don't tell anybody. No one will know that that piece collapsed on you. reason I'm only doing a 2 at a time. Ooh, whoa. I think somebody made a mistake in cutting. Why I'm doing a couple at a time is because I keep on sticking to them because it's so sticky, which is good. Okay, hang on here. Somebody cutting this missed it by about 1/8 of an inch. And I did not get enough glue on that one. I must have slipped. I was cutting multiple pieces of paper at one time. And that is the problem. If you do cut multiple pieces of this DSP, you can do it. But when they're tiny and they sometimes slip in the machine, you can have some problems with one being the wrong size. And then we got the little ones down here. We're just about there. Two more. I think these are fun. They're not hard to make at all. And they're just fun. So there's the one we just made, and here's a couple more that I made. You can just dig out all the pastels and light colors you want. You know, you could, like I said, you could do it room decor. You could do it with the colors of your house or anything. And then, of course, if you make the Easter basket, you could get, like I said, I think you could probably get 4 in here. You know, lean them up a little bit. Maybe 4. So, but those were 2 separate projects. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you enjoy the beautiful Easter presentations I had for you this week. And I will see you next week. So have a wonderful weekend, and goodbye.